Hello, you guys. So, welcome back to Riahs Tie-Dye. If this is your first time checking out my channel, welcome. And if you like what you see, don't forget to give me a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button and then turn your notifications on to all so you never miss a video. Today, we are doing a reverse dye sweatsuit. So, this is a super easy tutorial, super quick. You don't need all day, you don't have to let anything sit overnight, so that's why we wanted to do this. It's a super cute way to spend your fall days since we are now in the fall season. So obviously this is not my size, but I have a customer request for this and I wanted to show you my version. So some black fabrics, if you leave the bleach on for too long, will turn gray. I'm going for a brown, so we're not going to leave it on for very long. And sweatsuits and sweatshirts are tricky because they're a lot thicker than a t-shirt, but we got this. So all I have to use right now is my really stretchy green rubber bands that still have what appears to be dye on it, but it doesn't come off. And then I have a hemostat for my swirl stuff that I like to do. If you don't have these, I have them in the links down below, along with my rubber bands. I have blanks down there, dye, everything you can think of, so make sure you check that out too. Made it super easy for you, so it's right there if you need it. We're going to get started. We have a pair of sweatpants and a sweatshirt. We're going to swirl both of them and get bleach in. So I'm going right into the middle like I always do. Make sure you have this lined up the way you want it. Doesn't have to be perfect, but you know the drill. Gotta get the wrinkles out. I did wash these too, by the way. I washed them just to get them damp. I don't want them dry and I don't want them soaked. So make sure you get both layers of your sweatshirt in here when you pinch it. If you don't, you're going to have some uneven, well, I should say it's going to be uneven on the front versus the back. So if you don't get both layers and you didn't get the back in there with the front, it's going to look a little weird on the back. But I got my hemostat pinched on there and locked, and it's about like maybe 3/4 of an inch thick. It is a sweatshirt, so it's just going to be thick anyways, but I'm just going to keep swirling it with my hemostat and keep messing with my pleats. Doesn't have to be super perfect. This is kind of just a cute, I want it the brown color obviously, so if you leave the bleach on for too long it's going to be gray and I don't want that. So, but like I was just saying, it doesn't have to be perfect, it doesn't have to be thin, it doesn't have to be thick, but the fabric itself is thick, so you just have to work with it. If you have to do this a couple of times to get the color that you want, I had to. The first one I did was gray. I didn't want it. Although gray does look really cool, I'm not gonna lie. Just not this project. I think the brown is perfect for fall. So you can see my pleats are getting a little more rough around the sides here. As long as it's not super bunched up and weird looking, that's fine. But this is actually, these sweatpants and a sweatshirt, it's actually pretty cheap. Instead of buying the already made sweatsuits like these, I've seen them for like, oh man, $100, $80. That's a lot for a sweatsuit when you could make this yourself for like 20 bucks, if that. Bleach is cheap. You can pretty much find it anywhere now. People have gotten a little complacent around here, so they're not buying as much Bleach and Lysol. I'm getting complacent, but now I have to be extra careful. We're spiking again. So I hope you guys are being careful. I am just going to rubber band this just enough. I don't want to overdo it because we're only putting bleach on this. We're not using dye. However, that's a definite future video for a sweatsuit, so I think that'd be cool. So now I am going to unlock my hemostat, and I'm going to put my finger on the fabric right next to the hemostat and try to hold down the fabric while I rock this hemostat back and forth. And while I'm doing that, I'm trying to split it open with my fingers. I don't want to rip my sweatshirt. Voila, got it out. I'll need that again for the pants. So I'm not letting this dry out. It's definitely better damp for a sweatshirt and sweatpants. If you do it dry, the bleach is not going to soak in at all, and you're going to have very blotchy spots all over the place. So definitely do it damp. You don't have to wash this before you do it. I only did because I really wanted to make sure that it was all wet. You can run it under the sink just fine and wring it out, but this works better. I washed it so it's all damp, and it spun it out for me, so I didn't have to do it by hand. So for the pants, it's up to you where you want the swirl to start. I don't know why, but I always go for the middle, so I'm probably going to go right here in this area, and then the legs are going to have swirl be a part of the swirl, so probably have what look to be stripes, but it'll be part of the swirl. You know what I mean. You'll see it. So I have the pockets pushed in there because they're not really that big of a deal and not part of the design. Make sure you get both layers just like the sweatshirt. So I'm actually going to go for the seam. And I'll go up just a little bit so I'm not, making a swirl in the private area. Don't want to do that. So this is a little bit thicker because of the seam, but that's okay. I just want this to do good. So now we have elastic on the top and on the ankles. So that's going to be a little thicker area as well. So that part might just have to be bunched up. Unless you have a magic way, please let me know. And my hemostat wants to come undone, but I won't let it. Come on now. The elastic is just bunching up. Alright, so to make this easier, we're going to swing the legs around, bring it down. Just fix it how you want it to look. If you don't care if they're big fat pleats, then do it up. I just don't want it to be in a big mess like this area. But if that's the only area that looks like that, that's fine with me. But you're going to get that with the big elastic band part. But I believe the sweatpants are Gildan and the sweatshirt is Hanes. They're actually a really good price right now on Amazon. Not that they probably fluctuate very much, but that's really cheap. I'm not going to say it on camera because I don't know all the rules for that, but go look it up. Pretty cheap. Alright, so this is rough. I'm going to admit that. This is rough, but it doesn't have to be perfect, so We're not going there. So like I said, this is going to be super quick because once we get the hemostat out, we can literally put the bleach right on in whatever area, whatever order you want to do it in. It is only going to sit on here for about 8 minutes. If you leave it on too long, like I said, it's going to be gray. I do not want gray. So if you want gray, leave it on. You can leave it on for, I would say, up to a half hour. If you do that, you're probably going to get your gray color that you want. But if you do it less time, so the problem is, the last time I did this, just to give you a little story, the last time I did a sweatsuit, it did not look like it bleached at all. Like you can kind of see a discoloration. So then when I got it wet, it like went back to black. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's not what I wanted. So then I washed it and it turned out to be super gray. So I had no idea what color it was going to be. So that's why we're going to dim down the time on that. So now these are done. We're just going to do the swirl pattern, obviously. And I'm going to do a couple of different pie pieces. They're going to be skinny, but I'm using 75% bleach, 25 water. So I just filled up my bottle 3/4 bleach and then the rest water, shook it up a little bit. That way, I'm just making sure I'm not going to get the gray. Otherwise, I'd use 100%. So I didn't do that. But you can also use 50-50. I just don't know. I gotta play with my measurements to see what colors you get with a sweatsuit. Anyways, once we put the dye on there, we're only gonna let it sit for 8 minutes. And then without even wondering what the color is gonna look like, we're gonna use our hydrogen peroxide bath, which is to neutralize the bleach so the bleach doesn't ruin your clothing, which I do 18 cups of water and then 2 cups of hydrogen peroxide, stir it up, and then once you rinse the bleach out of these, you put these right in there for at least 20 minutes. It'll neutralize the bleach and you won't have holes in these, and then it'll be ready to go. You can wash them, let them dry, or you can put them in the dryer and then you can wear them. So perfect, super quick and easy. So if you have these laying around, do this because it's pretty awesome. So we'll be right back to put the bleach on. All right, you guys, so we are putting the bleach on. It is 75% bleach, 25 water, shaken up in a bottle. So I'm going to use the same on both. And I'm going to do a couple of thin pie pieces on top and bottom. And I'm only letting it sit for 8 minutes. I will be timing it, and then once we're done, like I said, you're not really going to see a difference in color because it's going to look a little discolored, but it is deceiving because the last time I did that, it turned gray, like a bright gray. So trust me when I say that. So even though it looks like it's not changing color, it definitely is. And then once we're done with that, remember, let it sit for 8 minutes. And then, that's if you want the brown color. If you want gray, let it sit longer. Then these are going in a hydrogen peroxide bath, which is 18 cups of water and 2 cups of hydrogen peroxide. If you only want to do one at a time, it is 9 cups of water and then 1 cup of hydrogen peroxide. So just chalk it up to that. And if you need any more, obviously it goes by 9. So if you add another 9 cups, add another cup of hydrogen peroxide, stir it up, put them in there for 20 minutes. And then once you do that, you can open them up, take the rubber bands off, throw them in the washer, and let them dry, and then they should be good to go. So let's get to it. Alright guys, so we have our sweatsuit and it's all done, and I am pretty impressed that it didn't turn all gray. So here is the sweatshirt. This is all washed and dried, and I love it, just saying. So it turned out awesome. I wanted the blotchy swirl look, that's why I didn't put any bleach in each crease like I would normally do. Looks awesome. That's the color I was going for. And the sweatpants go really good with it. So here's those. The sweatshirt is a tad, like the brown is a lot browner than the pants, but turned out really good. I did it for, like I said, the 8 minutes before, and they look awesome. So I'm super happy with that. This is a quick tutorial, so if you have a sweatsuit laying around and you want to kind of revamp it, do it up, use some bleach, have some hydrogen peroxide so you can make sure the bleach isn't putting holes in your sweatsuit. Do it up. Make sure you hit the subscribe button if you like this video, because there will be plenty more where this comes from. Alright, so thank you so much for watching. I will see you next time, and happy tie-dyeing.